everyone, welcome to another edition of VAFA Tragics. 11 rounds down to the VAFA season and another huge show coming to you tonight. Let's welcome the panel. Great to have Brenton Mann back at the desk. Brenton.
Thank you, Andrew. Very good to be back, and I see you replaced me extremely adequately.
We certainly did. We did. Nick Armistead, as we welcome you.
We did. Thanks for having me, Andrew. I'm really looking forward to our special guest tonight, actually.
Nice. Good to see the sweat jumpers back here, Brenton.
Rod and Gun special, Andrew. Absolutely fantastic. And Rod and Gun, if you want to get in touch, I'll be happy to take a few of your hands.
Probably unlikely. Big show, as I mentioned. We're going to look at the Scobs and Old Zaverians game. We'll take a look at the plays of the week. They're coming up shortly. Q had their first win of the season. And, of course, the Big V squad. We'll discuss all things Big V. But, of course, our second half of the show tonight, stick around for it. Special guest Gemma Minners from Fitzroy will be joining us at the desk to talk all things VAFA women's football. Let's get straight into the show. Plays of the week. Nick, why don't you kick us off with your play of the week?
Thank you, Andrew. I'm going to D. Larcell in Development Division 4 of the VAFA Women's. Lee Brown. Now, she kicked 3 goals for D-Lar against the top-ranked Hawthorn AFC on the weekend, including the match winner with only a few minutes to go. Now, we have a lot of great stories in VAFA Women's this year, but Lee is actually a grandmother, the only one that we know of. She's a grandmother to a 1-year-old, so I'm giving it to the goal-kicking granny from Development Division 4.
It's a magnificent achievement.
I'm going to go down to Division 4 as well in the men's, and Masala and Mount Lila had a draw. Now, we don't usually feature draws on Performance of the Week, but I think Masala are really building down there. They're hot and spicy footy. They're 2 wins and 1 draw this season, and they're developing every week.
They certainly are. I'll get back to the women's footy in a second on those. Did you see the article? In fact, let's go now. Greg Baum's article on the ladies playing footy in the VAFA Women's?
Yes, I was speaking to him about it before that, actually. We've got some incredible ladies who are late 30s, early 40s, but breaking
early 50s, I think there's a girl who's playing her first year of footy as well.
Yep.
Unbelievable stuff. My performance player of the week is Q. Just Q Bears, Premier C. Kyle Margaritis. Of course, we know him as the 2-time winner of Best on Ground medals in their premiership years. You'd think it was him again who ignited them on the weekend, but no, if you have a look at the vision in the circle here of them singing the song, you can see former VAFA Tragics panellist Will Baum there moves on to bigger and better things, away from the Tragics, gone back to his roots, playing at the Bears this year after a jaunt off to London last year. And he's back, and he's ignited the Bears, I feel. He's really lifted them, and they've got their first win of the year, and they're looking to avoid relegation.
Really leading the chorus, and I believe you spoke to him prior to the show, and he mentioned something about the greatest win he's been a part of.
Yeah, one of the best wins, and that tops 3 flags as well.
3 flags in a row.
Big.
3 flags in a row.
And that's fantastic by Barmy. He was excited on Saturday, wasn't he?
No, he certainly was excited. Great to see you enjoying the footy there, Barmy, and great to see the Bears back on the winners list. They got the Hawthorn song, which I was quite surprised at as well. Nick, you had a look at the big game, St Kevin's and Old Zaverians on the weekend, and Scobs made it 2 from 2 against that.
They did. Scob are looking absolutely fantastic at the moment. They beat Old Zaverians by 15 points. It was a tough game, but something Scob pretty much had it in control for most of the match, except maybe late in the third quarter there. Jared Gleeson continued his outstanding form, winning contested ball and finishing with 2 goals, including this explosive bit of play from the pack. Sam Critchley, Ben Dowd and Nick Wood each impressed for Scob, while the hero of the game was Scob's defensive structures and the way they set up behind the ball. Now, they use the loose man in defence better than any side in William Buck Premier at the moment, and their pressure on the ball carrier encourages sides to bomb long, even a side as well drilled as Old Zaverians, where they set up, they clean up and attack the other way through players like Critchley and Thomas Jock. For Zavs, Dennis Simeopoulos, Dan Noonan and Tim Golds were great again, but they will miss Mark Johnston, who unbelievably received a compound fracture of the jaw. And remember, we had another compound fracture, a big one last week with Jared Skeen.
It was graphic to say the least.
So that's their second one. Zavs are now 7-3, but bit of news, they will lose over the next few weeks for an extended period of time. Brendan Goss, John Shaw, Hayden Trelawney, they're all going overseas, and they're just clear of the Blues and D. Larcell.
Now, this is where Blues are really coming at the moment. They're sitting 4th. This is where the Uni Oval starts to get a bit boggy. Teams travelling to the Uni Oval. That's a massive home ground advantage for the Blues. And Zavs are going to struggle with those losses.
Well, Zavs have these 2 teams.
They still make the 4, though, don't they?
Zavs? Yeah. You'd think so.
Yeah, you would, absolutely.
So you're saying they're going to not make the 4?
Not a chance I would ever discount Old Zaverians, but it is not great timing with these superstars leaving.
It doesn't matter what Zavs do. They'll roll up, finish 4th, and probably win the flag again. I don't think it's an issue.
Every chance.
We mentioned Q's first win of the year after 9 straight losses. Great to see them. They've had a change of coach. They won it down at Hampton Rovers at Boss Jones. It does ask the question, can they avoid relegation?
It's a big call. Oh,
So they're 3 games outside of the bottom, outside of avoiding the bottom 2
So
at the
what
moment.
have we got? We've got 7 games left. We just had
8 games left.
8 games left. They'd probably need to win 3 of those to avoid relegation, you'd think. Maybe 5. Do you reckon they'll be able to go 3 and 4 in the last 7 games?
Oh, they've got to go more than that. They've got to go 4-3.
4-3, okay. Well,
and rely on Mentonians not winning games. They've actually got to win more than
I
that.
think we might be able to just keep our powder dry.
Okay. We'll take a quick break, come back with the Big V squad discussions right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. We said we're going to talk Big V squad. We've had a couple of withdrawals from injury as the squad's assembled and trained over the past couple of Wednesday nights. Nick, you've got some news on that front, and I guess the discussion now turns to who can come into the side, Brenton.
Certainly does, and Nick, big injury news out of Big V training.
There is. So before Big V training last week, we lost Harry Tinney to AC joint and Will Johnson from collegians to his groin for the 3rd time this year. But Matty Boland was the big one that we had penciled in at full forward from the very start of the squad there. He has done his calf at Big V training and he will miss. So now we need to look for a full forward. But also there's a couple of other positions up for grabs there with those boys not available.
Who do you think slots in at full forward?
I think the obvious choice is Jay Schultz. St Kevin's, he's kicked 25 goals this year, ex-AFL player, experienced, and he'd be a wise head down that forward line, I reckon.
Not in the squad though.
No, he's not in the squad, but you can drag him into the squad, surely.
Oh, well,
The squad is not concrete, surely, Nick.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
We've got to take it up to AFL Vic country.
Matty Hanley, not in the squad at all? Or
Not in the squad,
Chopper's
he'd be another one.
Generally got just a mortgage on that full forward
Yeah.
role, hasn't he?
He's about 13 or 14 Big V jumpers
Yeah.
at home in the cupboard, so it wouldn't be a chance to possibly get in.
I would think he's every chance based on his experience down back. I think Timmy Geepan would be a chance if he was available too. At Uni Blues, he's kicked multiple goals 7 times this year. So
Or do you go small and try and play a small fast forward line?
This is where I was going to go.
Yeah.
The 2017, if we've seen anything, the small forward line, big pressure, hold the ball inside your front half, that's the way a lot of teams are going, and I would not be opposed to it.
Well, you'd have Lockie Ferguson leading that
Yep.
small ball brigade. Then would you have Lockie Dornoff in there?
I would have Lockie Dornoff and Kieran Harper. They're 3 guns.
Well, Kieran Harper's he's a key there because
Yeah.
his form at the moment is absolutely unbelievable. He's leading the goal kicking.
He is, with 27, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So but you can't go too small. I think you need one key post, and I think it's out of Oregon Chopper Hanley or Jay Schultz. Who do you think?
I think
Well-
they both come into the squad. You've got to look at both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're both available, of course they're going to come into the squad. But if we're looking at the squad at the moment, then yeah, again, I think you'll have to change maybe the setup there to a smaller brigade.
Time now to change the tune a little bit here on the Tragics desk. We're going to get Gemma Muniz in from Fitzroy and talk women's football right after this.
Hi, I'm Laura from Old Trinity, and make sure you tune in to VAFA Tragics.
Welcome back to the Tragics. I mentioned before the break we're going to have the Fitzroy Women's captain in. I didn't say that was going to be the captain, but great to have you on board, Gemma. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm stoked to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you on board. Plenty of questions from the whole panel. It's I think we've said off air, making history in terms of the first female player we've had at the desk, which is exciting. We've only introduced players this year. We sort of didn't feel like we needed them for the previous few years at the Tragics, but this year obviously ratings are suffering, so we've brought players on board.
I'm happy to help out.
No, exactly. The massive rating spike I expect this week. How are you going at the Roys?
Yeah, really, really well. We're off to a great start to the season, so everyone's up and about.
Tough game
great.
against Caulfield on the weekend. Things were pretty even at 3/4 time. What happened going into that 4th quarter?
Yeah, it was. It was a lot closer than the games that we've been playing recently. So I think, to be honest, it was just across the board. Everyone lifted. We're used to that winning feeling at the moment. We didn't want to let it go. So yeah, just everyone stepped up. The pressure, we bought it. It was.
The way the competition's organically grown from the opening rounds where you were all seated in the top section, and then you had to wait to see who your opponents were. How have you found the opposition when you play them each week?
Yeah, we've been blown away by the competition that's come up from those grading rounds. I mean, for a lot of these teams, it's their first season. A lot of the girls have never played footy before, and the level that they're playing at has been unbelievable. So yeah, there's some stiff competition that's come up.
It's absolutely fantastic, the uptake of talent into the VAFA. How good can the Premier Section get? Could it rival the VFLW?
I reckon. I don't think there's any limit to
Yeah.
it. I think, as I said, like most of these teams, it's their first season. They've never played before, and if this is the standard that they're setting, it's going to get massive.
Now, Mick Simons came on board as coach this year, but you've also introduced a lot of new players. I know you had to start putting signs out there that we're not taking any more players at the start of the year because the intake was so big. So, taking that on board, how much focus does he put on building a positive and enjoyable culture for the first-year players as opposed to focusing on game plan and style with the girls who have obviously already been playing?
Yeah, Mick's been fantastic for us. He's come into the club. He's got a really big focus on the foundation, so on our skills, which has been brilliant. In terms of the fun side and the team side, it was actually Mick that has instigated the tunes in the locker room before we get out on the ground. So he's got us covered in that.
What's the last song that you listened to?
Oh, it alternates. I have to say we're an eclectic bunch, but I'll admit to my request being Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA, to get up and about on the weekend.
So you hadn't played footy in a full season before this year, is that right?
Correct, yes.
So how do you go about saying, I want to play footy? Take me through the process for you of how you said, yep, I'm going to play footy, and then learning the game and all of that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. So I dabbled in a little bit of footy in my high school years. We were gifted one day of the year in year 10, 11 and 12 that girls were allowed to play footy, so I took that on board. And then was lucky enough to represent the mighty ACU Hooping Birds when it came to uni games. And yeah, I just loved it right from the get-go. I think the fact that we can tackle in AFL has really brought a few girls to the game. It's a much more satisfying sport to get that anger out.
So what did you play? Sporting before that?
Lots of different things. My main sport being basketball. That was the one that I sort of stuck through from
Which is still pretty physical.
Early days. Yeah. More physical than it's meant to be, I think.
No, definitely it is, yeah. And in terms of learning the game, how have you gone about that?
I was lucky growing up with a brother and a dad, and my mum too, who's a decent kicker of footy. I guess I learnt my skills from them. I've got a few bad habits that Mick and Joe Hogan, the coach of the development squad, have been helping me correct.
So what percentage of the team, in terms of, and take us through choosing Fitzroy, the percentage of girls that have not played footy before to sort of any sort of level, or beginners for want of a better word?
Yeah, okay. So choosing Fitzroy, that connection with ACU, they joined forces late 2014, I think.
Did you have anything to do with it, being from ACU?
Oh, I wish I could claim it. It was when I was there, it was sort of rumours and we wished that this could happen. And then a couple of years after I graduated, people did the groundwork and got it across the line. So yeah, once I'd played footy with the Hoopers at ACU, there was no chance I wasn't going to play with Fitzroy.
Just on the captaincy, how have you taken to the role? And are you a big inspirational speaker prior to the game, or is it more about follow me on the field?
Yeah, great question. I think I could do with watching a few more runs of Coach Carter and remember the Titans and the likes to get those pre-game speeches going. But no, I do prefer to lead by example, yeah.
In terms of the Big V squad, we've discussed the men's squad that just before you came on air. You're part of the women's squad, the first Big V women's squad. How's that going?
It's going great. Yeah, the standard at training is just unbelievable. The ball.
So it's different to your training at Fitzroy. You noticed that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's different in that although the girls don't know each other, everyone's just keen to put themselves out there. So the voice is up. Everyone's getting around each other, patting each other on the back, and yeah, it's such a great atmosphere.
Now, Brenton and I have done our research, and we locked in a few women who we thought would make the Big V.
We didn't mention Gemma.
We didn't mention Gemma. She was the sixth of the.
She just missed out.
Awkward, but I'll pop it. Yeah.
So if you were having a look, you've been to 2 trainings now with the girls. If you were looking around, you played against a few. Who are your shoe-ins? Who are your locks? Who do you not like coming up against, I suppose, on the weekend?
Okay, I'm sounding biased, but of course I need to mention my Roy girls,
Absolutely.
Rosso and Claude, who are definitely putting their hands up at training and in the games. But I think playing Caulfield on the weekend, Millie from Caulfield is absolutely dominating. She did so well on the weekend as well as at training. Millie Kingbale, that's the one. And also I definitely have to mention Trinity.
Yeah.
Trinity, Claire Messon, absolutely. She's killing it.
Trinity kicked 4 goals on the weekend, and Claire kicked every single one.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
How much would you rate your singing after the game? We've got some footage here, actually, of you girls
Right,
getting around. I think I can see you in there, just amongst it.
You never get used to it. Every win is just as good as the last one, and yeah,
So what's the difference between winning when you play basketball and winning when you play football?
when you play basketball, I guess basketball runs the whole year, season to season to season, back to back, and you lose a game and you're not as shattered, I guess. But footy, we've got 14 weeks of the year to prove ourselves. We want to win every single time. So yeah, when you win a game of footy, it definitely means a lot.
That 2 minutes after a win in the change rooms is unbelievable.
That's 2 minutes of your week,
Yeah,
almost.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's Joan Annie been down at the club?
Joan's fantastic.
Yeah.
Joan's an absolute legend. Yeah, she's always around the girls' games and.
And now that you've come on board from the VWFL, so you're more entrenched now with the men. How's the cultural change been, and how have they embraced the girls coming in as one now?
Yeah, the boys at our club have been fantastic. We're really lucky to do a lot of our pre-season with them. So sharing the warm-up as well as their coaches running drills for us too. But they've been nothing but supportive, from learning our names to, picking up an average kick that we've done. They've been fantastic.
Well, you need to be a bit more supportive at the moment. You're having a bit more success than they are at the moment. Is the morale still high amongst the men?
Yeah, the boys are fantastic, to their credit. They don't drop their head at all. And I mean, most of the teams are still around the middle of the ladder as well. So they're still in the run.
Sledging, it's a discussion we have about the men's
Good,
side of it. How does it work? How does it work in women's football?
Oh, exactly the same.
No.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, the VAFA girls could step up their game. The VWFL, the sledging was pretty top notch. Particularly through last season, we had a few decent calls from some of the girls. So I think the VAFA girls
Nothing.
we're
hurtful,
easing
though.
into it. Nothing hurtful, all in good fun. Definitely.
Excellent. We're going to take a break and finish up the discussion there on Fitzroy Women's. Hopefully you can stick around though. We're going to go through our dissection if you can.
Love to.
We'll be back with more Tragics right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Time now for the dissection. I never know what this segment's called, Nick, but
Dissection.
why don't you kick us off for us?
Well, I'm going to go to Brenton. Are Hampton Rovers destined for relegation?
It could quite possibly be successive relegations for the Rovers. They've won 3 games. Now, we've done our research, as we usually do on the Tragics. I've only got them winning. They've got 2 must-wins to avoid relegation. They've got round 14 at home at Boss James against Marcelin. They have to win that, and it could come down to the last round versus Old Mentonians to avoid that relegation. And our Willie B's Q Bears, they could get on a little bit of a run.
So
But
is that a yes or no?
I think they'll be relegated, yes. We do not sit on the fence here. Sometimes
we
you do.
Gemma, who's the Premier Division's Premier side's most likely to challenge the Roy girls?
I think, even though we've had a pretty close rivalry with Scobbs over the last couple of seasons, I think Caulfield is the team that we're looking to beat.
Caulfield?
Caulfield, yeah.
Very good.
Nick, I'm going to go to you. Is Kieran Harper damaging Tom Paul and Jake Williams' Woodrow chances?
He is, and it's hurting me because I chose Tom Paul at the start of the year, and Jake Williams could possibly win his third. Kieran Harper is starring at the moment. He's doing what he wants. He's playing forward when he wants, leading the goal kicking in Premier, and then he's playing in the midfield when they need him, alongside Ross Young, Jeremy McGovern, Marshall Rippin's back. Kieran Harper is going to do a lot of damage once Woodrow night comes, and I think he possibly could.
It's a good name for you, easy name for you to pronounce as well.
K. Harper.
Yeah, K. Harper. That's
It's
an
not
easy one.
Semiopolis.
Is it about time Inner FM broadcast a females football game?
Well, absolutely it is, Gemma. Of course it is.
Good
I
answer.
was never going to say no there, was I? You're sitting next to me. No, absolutely. Inner FM, of course, broadcasting the William Buck Premier matches every week. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping they'll certainly look at some women's finals.
Yeah.
I'm
They
not
are.
sure. They're
They
looking
are.
at some,
Great.
certainly the women's grand finals are probably in the pipeline. But yeah, looking forward to calling some women's footy.
We have to get Lenny on the cans again.
Yeah,
Make your
well,
return, Lenny.
happy to be back there.
Well, John Canis should really be pushing it,
He
shouldn't
should
he?
be.
Well, absolutely. As the rep coach, how is John Canis going as the coach?
He's going great. We'll get in his ear about that on
Yeah, for
Wednesday.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And good luck against the She-Eagles on
Thank
the
you
weekend.
so much.
And for the rest of the year, great to have you on board.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Nick, we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Andrew. Look
And-
forward to it.
And Brenton, we'll see you soon.
You always will.
You back next week? Or you
I
taking
am
a couple
back.
weeks off?
I am back. And thank you, Gemma.
Bit rich coming from Andrew.
Yeah, it's a little bit rich. I didn't get to sell the Amalfi Coast or anything.
I didn't go to the Amalfi Coast, just the French Alps. We'll be back next week on The Tragic. Speak to you then.
My tragic take this week is in relation to the article written by John Anderson in the Herald Sun, which paid homage to the greats of the Dissection in the VAFA. Now, on the top of the list, and the man featured in the picture, is the one Trevor Bromley, the 37-year-old Oakley crusher, who in 1997 debuted at 17 years of age. He has kicked over 700 goals in 298 games, Big V representative 3 times, and he has kicked 27 goals this year and is still starring for the Crushers. And we'll stay in Division 1. Daniel Flaherty from Pegs, 235 games between 2001 and 2016. Also played for Coburg Lions in the VFL. Also played in Queensland and in the Waffle. Was an Ireland representative for the VAFA in 2012 and was a Spirit of the Big V winner. We'll stay in Div 1/Div 2 to Nathan Chalker St John's, dual premiership winner in 2005, 2011, 3-time best and fairest, member of the team of the quarter century down at Thomas Carroll Reserve. Now Div 2, the bull from Emmaus St Leo's, Paul Baronello, 228 games, 7-time BNF winner, a VAFA BNF winner in Division 2. Now, Division 3, Albert Park, James Sutton. I got James in because he's got a fantastic nickname, 7-time best and fairest winner. And in Division 4, the man that, I don't know how he plays so much Division 4 football, Dimitri Dimakopoulos, 126 games, 200 plus goals, 87 times in the best 2011 Premier, captain in 2010 to 2012, a 2-time Hutchinson medalist in 2010 and 2013, a 1-time OJ Mean medalist in 2011. Those are been some of the great players in D section. And John Anderson, that was a fantastic article on paying homage to the greats.